see. All right, 1 second. All right. Let's take a look over here. There we go. Okay. Let's see. Let's make sure we're live on the YouTubes. Yes, we are. Good. All right. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Good morning. Happy Thursday. It's Thursday, right? It's Thursday. Yeah, it's Thursday. It's Thursday. Happy Thursday, ladies and gentlemen. Happy Thursday. Hope you guys are having a fantastic day today. Hope you guys are doing well. All right. Just getting ourselves all set up here. All set up. Yes, sir. All right. So, let's get everything all set up here. Let's make sure we're live on the Twitch. Are we live on the Twitch? All right. Let's make sure. Yes, we are. Okay, good. Good. All right. Audio's working properly. Yes, sir. And INTS is currently up 214%. Oh my. All right. Well, okie dokie. So that's a thing. INTS is now up 214%. So we got that going on right there. All right. You know what? Let me grab my trusty pen over here. All right. CCCF, hello, buddy. How you doing? Hello. All right. So INTS currently up 216%. Shot up to 216%. All right. So let's get that. Let's get everything all sorted out here. Let's get everything all sorted. 1 second. All right. Getting ourselves all ready to go. All right. All right. There we go. We called a couple of baggers today, ladies and gentlemen. So let me get this intro started, actually. But first things first, let me get the announcements out. Let's get the announcements out and ready to go. Yes, sir. All right. All right. There we go. There we go, right there. All right. Okay. There we go. All right. Okay. Let's get everything all set up here. How are you guys doing today, ladies and gentlemen? Hope you guys are having a fantastic day today. Hope you guys are doing well. Yes, sir. All right. Let's get everything all ready to go. Let's get everything all set up here. All right. Let's get everything all set up over here as well. All right. Get all the announcements ready to go here. Now let's get a share party going on, ladies and gentlemen. Let's get to 100. Let's get to 100, ladies and gentlemen. Come on now. Yes, sir. All right. Let me just get everything all set up here. Boom. All right. Get this over here. All right. There we go. All right. There we go right there, ladies and gentlemen. So let me just get everything all set up here. Boom. There we go. All right. So let's see what we got going on here. What we got? All right. Okay. And we should be almost ready to go, ladies and gentlemen. We should almost be ready to go. Right there. Boom. All right. Let me just get these announcements out and we should be ready. Give me 1 second. 1 second, ladies and gentlemen. There we go. Bop right there. All right. Let's see here. All right. Okay. And all right. There we go, ladies and gentlemen. Okay, let's get this intro started, ladies and gentlemen. Let's get this intro started. What's up, guys? It's Double Nicks, and welcome to another episode of Microcap Mornings. I am your host with the most. They call me DBL Nicks in the house, a.k.a. the Rainmaker. And I am here with the lovely Serengeti specialist herself. She likes to hang around the tall weeds, the high trees, the low seas, hitting them high knees. Sometimes she likes 2 cups of coffee. Other times she likes to jet ski. Sometimes she gets shot out the cannon and she goes wee. Other times she likes to go to Arby's and spend time watching videos of puppies and kitties. And other times she likes to get shot out the cannon and she goes wee. But besides that, she also goes into the stock market and she will find them ABCDs. Yes, sir. Yes, sir, ladies and gentlemen. Woo. All right. So that's what we got going on so far. Wait, hold on. I'm almost done. I'm getting there.
You can't forget DBL Moms.
I know. I'm getting there. 1 second. Hold on. I had some more. She did call wonderful stonks like CMBM, INTS, and VCIG. We call her DBL Moms. Hey! All right. Yes. And so that's what we got going on, folks. And let's get started, ladies and gentlemen. Let's get right into it. So we called quite a few baggers, but actually, before we begin, be sure to like, comment, and subscribe, as well as ring that bell icon to stay notified when new videos are uploaded. And remember to share, because sharing is caring, ladies and gentlemen. Sharing is caring. And, of course, if you want access to our private Discord, link to join us in the description down below, as well as the pinned comment section. So be sure to check that out. We pick a lot of baggers a lot of times. We are just made different. And the early bird gets the cash, the moolah, the loots, the cashola, the big bucks, I tell you. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. All right. So that's what we got going on, folks. All right, so let's take a look at some stocks here that we got here, because we called quite a few. We called earlier this morning a couple of baggers. We called VCIG. That stock ran up a nice 195%. CMBM, 152%. And INTS, that stock ran up a nice 216%. Right now, though, it is kind of going downward now. So it's kind of going down. But before, it did run up a nice 216%. So I'll give it credit where credit's due. It was looking pretty schmexy. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. All right. So a lot of people asking for INTS. So we are going to get right into that. We are going to get right into that stock right there. Boom. Let's get this here and let's get this here. And then we will be right there. So let's take a look at INTS, ladies and gentlemen. Let's take a look at INTS. All right. And let me actually get this over here. So, ladies and gentlemen, we called VCIG for the private community. We called VCIG for our private Discord community early this morning. Early this morning. VCIG. And that stock ran up a nice 195% right there. 195%. We also called CMBM. That stock ran up a nice 152%. 152% right there. Yes, sir. And then, of course, we called INTS. And that stock ran up a nice 216%. Yes, ran up a nice 216%, ladies and gentlemen. So I just got to say, we are just made different. And the early bird gets the cash, the moolah, the loots, the cashola, the big bucks, I tell you. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. All right. So let's take a look at INTS. Tony, why not? And CCCF have asked for INTS. So let's take a look at that real quick. INTS currently up a nice 191% right now. Had a nice run up 216%. All right, so this stock had, let's get some support and resistance lines for it actually. Little bit of support and resistance lines. Bot right here. Let me actually make those a bit thicker. There we go. Make the text a little bit bigger. All right, for you ladies and gentlemen, so you guys can see it. Bop right there. All right, so INTS had a run, shot up above 70, it shot up to 86 cents per share, which was a nice 216%. All right, now it's currently got a hold above 72 cents, breakthrough 86 for it to be so much mexi to mya. Let's get the graffiti pencil activated over here. Let's get the graffiti pencil activated right over here. Had a bit of an A to B, B to C, C to D right there, ladies and gentlemen. So that's what it had going on. Let me actually make that a bit bigger, a little bit thicker right there. Boom. And then let me get this right over here. Okay, so had a bit of an ABCD pattern going on right over here. So it basically had this going on. And as of now, it is currently had a big drop downward, shot back up above the VWAP, and now is currently holding above 72 cents. So right now, INTS is a little bit volatile. So, you know how it is, ladies and gentlemen. But it did have a nice drop and then pop back up. And they basically resumed the pattern. Let me take a look actually at some news because they said that Q3 earnings were unconfirmed for the stock. So let me actually take a look and see if it's got any news on it. INTS does have a 47 million float, which is a bit heavy, ladies and gentlemen, a little bit heavy, but the volume is 211 million. So we got that going on right there. INTS currently has news that Intensity Therapeutics, this came out earlier today, by the way, announced a publication of clinical results of INT-230-6 for the treatment of metastatic or refractory cancers in eBiomedicine, a Lancet Discovery Science journal. All right, so they basically published their clinical results in eBiomedicine, which is basically some sort of journal for Lancet's Discovery Science. That's what they got going on there. And to top it off, they basically published that anti-tumor effect in that published study. So they got that going on right there. That's why they shot up so nicely. They had a nice run up 216%. So right now, this stock is currently a little bit consolidated. So it is above the VWAP, but a little bit consolidated above the 72-cent line. Needs to break that resistance for it to really be so much mexi to mya. Otherwise, it's just you know how it is, ladies and gentlemen. Let's get a share party going on. Let's get a share party going on. Let's get to 300. Come on now. INTS right now above... it needs to break the high of day and consolidation. That's what we got going on over here. That is what we got going on here, ladies and gentlemen. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. All right. So INTS, that's what they got going on so far. Right now, needs to break that 86-cent line for it to be so much mexi to mya. Has to hold above 72 cents. So that's what we got going on for that stock right there. That is what we got going on. Someone asked me about CMBM. We called CMBM earlier today. It ran up a nice 152%. 152% right there. So it did have that going on. Let me see what's going on over here. And it did run yesterday as well. It ran yesterday. So we got that going on right here. CMBM Networks 2. All right, let's take a look at this stock right here. So has a bit of an A to B, B to C, C to D right here. All right, and then had a bit of a trend upward over here. All right, and then basically spiked its way on up over here. And then kind of just made a bit of a downtrend right over here. So has to break that downtrend, has to break the VWAP for it to be so much mexi to mya. But CMBM did have a nice run up 152% and did have a very nice run yesterday. As a matter of fact, CMBM ran up a nice, hold on 1 second. CMBM ran up a nice, I believe, 500% yesterday. Actually, no, it was way more than that. It was 740%, if memory serves me correct, which, yeah, it was. 740%. That's how high it went, CMBM. So it had a nice run yesterday, had a good run today as well. Had a good run. It ran up a nice 152%. So CMBM needs to break the downtrend. CMBM needs to break the downtrend and the VWAP because it fell below the VWAP as well. Looks like it's trying to curl a little bit and test it though. It's trying to curl off that downtrend right there. Can it curl? We'll see what happens, ladies and gentlemen. We shall see what happens. But right now, needs to break that VWAP for it to be so much mexy to me. But otherwise, you know what I mean? You know what I mean? You know what I mean? Yes. So, got that going on right there. Let's see what we got going on over here. Boom. All right. CMBM. Let's get some support and resistance lines. There we go. Currently has to broke through the $6.06 resistance line over here. Now it's a support line, has to break through 635, which is where the VWAP is, then 640, then 665, then 689, then 719, and finally 768, all of which are basically resistance lines right over here, but has to hold above $6.06 and break through 640. That is the first step for it to somewhat become schmexy to me. Actually, it has to break through 635. That is the first step so it can break the VWAP. And then after that, it should, potentially, maybe go up. Maybe. We'll see what happens, ladies and gentlemen. We shall see what happens. But right now, it's you know what I mean? There we go. All right, let's take a look at VCIG. Actually, let's take a look at VCIG. Yeah, let's take a look at VCIG. Let's take a look at VCIG right here. VCIG. Let's take a look over here. VCIG fell below the VWAP over here. Fell below that VWAP right over here. Had that downtrend right there. All right. Then kind of just started consolidating a little bit and forming a bit of a channel right around here. Right over here. Bop. And bop right there. So formed a bit of a channel right there. Let me actually change this color real quick. Bop right there. But looks like it's breaking through and it's breaking above right now. It's breaking above the channel and currently trying to test the VWAP. But right now it needs to hold and remain friends with this trend right here and break that VWAP for it to be so much mexy to mya. So right now VCIG had a nice run up 195%. VCIG needs to remain friends with the trend and break that VWAP for it to be so much mexy to mya. Otherwise, it's just you know how it goes, ladies and gentlemen. You know how it goes. All right. So that's what we got going on there, ladies and gentlemen. That is what we got going on. All right. So INTS, we got that there. Let's take a look at JZXN. Let's see how JZXN is looking right here. All right. It's got a bit of an A to B, B to C, all right, C to D, and then went into a bit of a descending wedge right over here, curled its way on up right over here, and then created a bit of a pennant right over here. So right now, JZXN needs to break above the VWAP, needs to break that pennant as well. JZXN needs to break the VWAP and the pennant for it to be so much mexy to mya. So that's what we got going on right there. That is what we got going on right there. Let's take a look at TechX, TECX. Let's take a look over here. Ooh, not looking too schmexy right now. Needs some serious volume for it to be so much mexy to mya. But let's take a look over here. TECX needs volume because honestly, it has a lot of choppiness, a lot of indecisiveness over here, a lot of indecisive wicks. Not looking too schmexy there, not looking schmexy to mya. Let's see what else we got over here. Let's see what else we got. All right. So we did check out TechX. We checked out GZXN. Let's see about another stock right here. Actually, oh, hold on. I'm getting a bit of a request over here. Someone's requesting PLUG. PLUG. All right, let me take a look at PLUG. Plug. Okay, a lot of choppiness. Okay, a lot of barcoding going on over here. Very, very choppy, very consolidated around certain parts over here. So it had consolidation quite literally around here and here. Like this was basically the consolidation zone right here. So had that going on right there. Kind of curled its way on up just a little bit, just a bit. But again, it's probably moving on some very low volume because it made a descending wedge right here, curled its way on up again, all right, and now is making another descending wedge and looks like it's going to fall below the VWAP there. So right now, PLUG, not very schmexy. It's down 1%, down 1%, not looking too schmexy. So PLUG needs volume to break the descending wedge and hold above VWAP for it to be somewhat schmexy to mya, because it has to stay above that VWAP. Otherwise, it's just meh. You know how it goes, ladies and gentlemen. You know how it goes. So, got that going on right there. All right, let's take a look at another stock over here. Let's take another look at another stock. Somebody requested VIVS. All right, so VIVS currently moving downward right now. It's on a bit of a downtrend here. On a bit of a downtrend. Not the type of stock I like, because number one, it fell below the VWAP. Not looking too schmexy. So VIVS really needs to just break that downtrend right there for it to be somewhat schmexy to me. VIVS needs to break the downtrend right here. Boom. For it to be somewhat schmexy to me. All right. Let's take a look at something else. Somebody requested Buru. Let's see how Buru is doing. BURU. It's been a little bit. It's been a little while. All right, Buru. Ooh, looks like it went down. Looks like it went down, ladies and gentlemen. All right, let me get the support. Let me get these little bits of movement over here. Bot right there, and bot right there. But it looks like it's trying to curl up above that, off that descending wedge right there. Looks like it's trying to curl off that descending wedge. So it broke above the VWAP, so that's good. It's up 2% right now. But Buru, BURU, curled off the descending wedge right here. All right. Broke the VWAP and then went back down just now. Literally just went back down just now. Oh boy. All right, well, never mind. Buru has a top tail right over here. Buru has a top tail, fell below the VWAP, not looking too schmexy to me. Let's take a look at what else we got over here. Let's take a look back at CMBM. CMBM right over here. Let's see here, ladies and gentlemen. Let's see. All right, so currently CMBM is, it tried to curl off that downtrend, but then pretty much just made a bit of a wedge right over here. Nothing schmexy at all. CMBM needs to break that little pennant right there for it to be so much schmexy to me. CMBM needs to break the pennant and the VWAP for it to be so much schmexy to me. So that's what we got going on right there. All right, that is what we got going on. Boom, right there. All right, so let's see what else we got here. INTS. Let me take a look at INTS because it seems like it's curling. Oh my! INTS just broke above. Now broke 228% right now. 228%. Parabolique, baby. Come on now. INTS. There we go. Ooh, INTS broke the high of day. There we go. Broke that high of day, ladies and gentlemen. Up 222%, ladies and gentlemen. Boom, baby. Yes, sir. There we go. There we go. Looks like it's breaking through at 225, 229. All right. I like it. All right. Now 229% right there. INTS broke the 229%. Broke the high of day at 229%, ladies and gentlemen. Boom, baby. Yes, sir. Look at that. Up 231.
Let's go, baby.
There we go. Come on now. That's nice right there. All right. INTS broke through once again. Now up 231% right there. 231. So that's what we got going on right there. Looks like it's forming a bit of a double top right there. We don't like the double tops. We like the double bottoms, ladies and gentlemen. Or better yet, we like the bottom tails. But right now, man. Currently, INTS fell down to 218. We'll see what happens, ladies and gentlemen. Could be a small pullback, and then maybe something comes up. Or maybe this is just a double top and it just goes back down. We'll see what happens, ladies and gentlemen. Right now, it's a bit overbought on the RSI. A little bit overbought on the RSI. So we got that going on right there. So, yeah, right now we're going to see what happens. We'll wait and see. We shall wait and see. So let me put this in here. INTS 231%. There we go, ladies and gentlemen. There we go. All right. Let's take a look at GPRK. GPRK. Let's see right over here. All right. All right, let's take a look at GPRK. Not a lot in terms of volume. On an uptrend on some very, very low volume. And when I say very, very low volume, I mean choppy. Not a stock I would trust, me personally, but that's just me. GPRK on a choppy uptrend needs volume to become so much mexy to me. So, we'll see what happens there, ladies and gentlemen. We shall see what happens. All right. Let's take a look at some other stocks right here. Let's get the share party going on. Share party. Let's get to 900. 900, ladies and gentlemen. Yes, sir. All right. And by the way, ladies and gentlemen, be sure to check out our 4-day trial for the real-time alerts and scanners for only $9.99. Link to join us in the description down below, as well as the pinned comment section. So be sure to check that out. We pick a lot of baggers a lot of times. We are just made different. And the early bird gets the cash. Yes, sir. All right, so let's see what other stocks we got going on here. All right, RELI. Let's see. Somebody requested RELI. Let's take a look at RELI. All right, and then we'll take a look at JZXN, which is a very heavy floated stock. All right, RELI not looking schmexy at all. Needs some volume. RELI needs volume to break through. There we go. All right, let's take a look at JZXN. JZXN right here. JZXN. Let's see. All right, looks like it tried to curl off the pennant just a little bit, but then started to kind of just go downward a little bit more. So JZXN right now needs to remain friends with that trend, curling off the pennant. JZXN needs to remain friends with the trend after it breaks the after it broke the pennant. Yeah, it broke above the pennant. Yes, broke above the pennant. There we go. All right, so broke above the pennant, but right now it needs to remain friends with that trend for it to be so much mexy to me. Currently up 35%. We'll see what happens, ladies and gentlemen. We shall see what happens. Let's take a look at another stonk over here. All right, somebody requested CAN. Let's take a look at CAN. All right. CAN, very, very bar-coded, not looking schmexy at all. Needs to break the downtrend. CAN, more like CANT. All right. All right. So CAN needs to break the downtrend. Needs volume for it to be so much mexy to me. Because otherwise it's just man. You know how it goes, ladies and gentlemen. You know how it is. All right. Boom, right there. All right. Let's see what else we're being requested. Let's see here. Let's see what else we got. Let me add them right here. All right. And let's see. By the way, ladies and gentlemen, be sure to check out the 4-day trial for the real-time alerts and scanners for only $9.99. Link to join us in the description down below, as well as the pinned comment section. So be sure to check that out. We pick a lot of baggers a lot of times. We are just made different, and the early bird gets the cash. The moolah, the loot, the cashola, the big bucks, I tell you. You get access to an amazing community. You get access to our amazing tools right here, such as our chart, our amazing newsroom, and of course, the amazing community that we got going on right there. We got an amazing community of folks, amazing community of peeps. So we got that going on right there. So be sure to check that out, ladies and gentlemen. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. All right, let's see what else we got over here. All right, so CAN currently moving towards being oversold, not looking schmexy at all. Let's see here. Somebody requested UAMY. UAMY. Let's take a look at UAMY. All right, UAMY currently moving up, well, moved up over here and then formed a bit of a descending wedge for it to be so much Mexi to Mya. That's what we got going on, folks. That is what we got going on. Oh, excuse me, right there. So let me get that going on. UAMY needs to break the downtrend and hold above the VWAPA for it to be so much Mexi to Mya. Yes, sir. Let's take a look at MBRX. MBRX. Let's see how MBRX is doing. Oh my. It looks like it's moving up on low volume because MBRX has very heavy float of 48 million, volume of 3 million. So moving up on some low volume has a bit of a top tail there. We don't like the top tails. We like the bottom tails. Yes, sir. We like the bottom tails right there. That's what we like. That's what we like, baby. Come on now. MBRX needs to hold above that uptrend right there. MBRX moving up on low volume. So we got that going on right there. That is what we got going on. All right. So MBRX currently doing that right there. That is currently what it's doing. All right. Let's take a look at VKTX. VKTX. All right. VKTX currently choppy and expensive. All right. Had a bit of a trend upward, moved up a bit over here, and kind of just started moving its way back downward over here and formed a bit of a pennant over here. So currently needs to break that pennant for it to be so much Mexi to Mya. Currently needs to do that and break the VWAP as well. So VKTX needs to break the VWAPA and the pennant for it to be so much Mexi to Mya. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. All right. All right, let's take a look at what else we got. What else we got over here? Let me add them. Let me add them. All right. All right, all right. CMG, CMG. All right, let's take a look over here. CMG. Another stunk that we got going on right here. A to B, B to C, C to D right there. Had a bit of a pennant afterwards right over there. All right. Then proceeds to curl its way on up. Curl its way on up over here. Right. And then pretty much just started moving its way on down slowly but surely because it did go from here to here on a bit of a downtrend. So right now, CMG needs to break that downtrend and break that VWAP for it to be so much Mexi to Mya. Let's get a share party going. Let's get to 1,300. Come on now, 1,300, ladies and gentlemen. Come on. All right. CMG needs to break the VWAPA and the downtrend over here. All right, for it to be so much Mexi to Mya. CCCF asks for INTS. Let's take a look at INTS again. All right, INTS again had that nice move up 230%, 231%, excuse me. But again, it needs to really do something over here and over here. Needs to do something with the pennant for it to be so much Mexi to Mya because it's currently on a descending wedge right here. So INTS needs to break that descending wedge and curl, baby, curl, because it's starting to fall below that support line right there, and I don't like that. I don't like that, ladies and gentlemen. INTS needs to break above the VWAPA and the high of day for it to be so much Mexi to Mya, but right now it's falling below to the VWAPA. So we got that going on right there. All right. So, yes, sir. Yes, sir. Let's take a look at what else we got. What else we got, ladies and gentlemen? Let me add them. Let me add them. All right. All right. All right. Let's see what we got. What we got. What we got. All right. Let's take a look at some more stocks over here. Who else requested something of me? All right. Oh, let's see. Oh, all right. NUAI. Somebody requested NUAI. There we go. All right. Let's take a look over here. NUAI currently has to break this downtrend right here. Very, very choppy. Very choppy. Needs to break the downtrend. Needs to break the VWAP. Very, very just choppy in general. So NUAI, it was good before, but ever since, it hasn't been good for a while now. You know what I mean? NUAI needs to break the choppiness. VWAP and downtrend for it to be somewhat schmexy to me. But right now, NUAI not feeling the stock right here. Not feeling the stock. Dudley says Union. Hello, Dudley. Union? Union. Okay. All right, Union. All right. Let's take a look. Is that like the name of a company, Union? All right. Let's take a look over here. Let me see about GPRK again. GPRK. Hold on. All right. So currently this stock is moving its way on up still a little bit. Still friends with the trend somewhat, but right now it is just kind of starting to just test it a little bit over here. I just moved up a little bit because it was not facing the right direction I wanted it to face. But yes, no, it is currently trying to test that uptrend right there. We don't want it to really break below that. It needs to remain friends with the trend for it to be so much mexi to mya. So GPRK, low volume, needs to remain friends with the trend. GPRK, low volume, needs to remain friends with the trend. To be so much mexi to mya. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. All right. Dudley asks for HBIO. HBIO. Let's take a look at HBIO. Let's see. All right. So HBIO currently with this stock right here, it is currently just not looking schmexy here. Not looking schmexy. Come on now. All right. Yeah, no. HBIO. Dudley said Union was a typo. Sorry. No problem, man. No worries. No worries. Don't worry about it, man. Happens. Happens. Autocorrect. Am I right? All right. Don't worry about it, man. We'll take a look at HBIO here. HBIO currently, though, needs to break this descending wedge and needs to break this VWAP for it to be so much mexi to mya. Let me get you some support and resistance. But before I do, I just want to say I just found a little bit of a shoulder right here, a little bit of a head right here, and a little bit of a shoulder right around here. So head and shoulders tends to really be a downward movement. It tends to be a bearish pattern. So head and shoulders went down, needs to break that descending wedge right there, and needs to break that VWAP for it to be so much mexi to mya, because HBIO needs volume to break that descending wedge and the VWAP for it to be so much mexi to mya. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. All right, all right. So that's what we got going on there, folks. That is what we got going on. Okay. So let's take a look at some other stocks here. Let's take a look at some other stocks. All right. Let's see. Let's see. All right, all right. So let's see about INTS again. How's INTS looking? INTS, rooting for INTS, but I don't think it's looking too schmexy right now. I think it's popped its. I think it hasn't popped its cherry. I think it's just shot its. I think it's just shot its load there. But that's basically it, right there. So INTS currently needs to break this pennant right here. Honestly, it's no longer even a descending wedge. It's just a pennant now at this point. So INTS needs to break that pennant for it to be so much mexi to mya. Because right now it's up 194% right now. Can it break through the 231% mark? It is still holding the support line. It is still holding that. So we got that going on right there. That is what we got going on. All right. Let's see about INTS needs to break the pennant right there. All right. Let's get a share party going on. Let's get to 1,700. And remember, ladies and gentlemen, to check out our 4-day trial for the real-time alerts and scanners for only $9.99. Link to join us in the description down below, as well as the pinned comment section. So be sure to check that out. We pick a lot of baggers a lot of times. We're just made different, and the early bird gets the cash, the moolah, the loots, the cashola, the big bucks, I tell you. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. And to top it off, they also get access to our amazing community right there. Right? Link to join us in the description down below, as well as the pinned comment section, so be sure to check that out. But yes, you get access to the amazing community, our amazing tools such as our scanners and newsroom, as well as our stock ticker tape. So you get access to all that beautiful stuff and more. All you got to do is click that link in the description down below. And if you want to become a wealth builder, be sure where you can get everything that the real-time alerts and scanners has got, plus some other amazing exclusive content. You get access to Coach and myself, and to top it off, you get access to exclusive picks and other things like that as well. So be sure to check that out as well right there. Link to join us in the description down below, as well as the pinned comment section. So be sure to check that out. We pick a lot of baggers a lot of times. We're just made different, and the early bird gets the cash. All right, ladies and gentlemen, give me 1 second. I just need to grab some water real quick, and I'll be right back. Much love. Give me 1 second. And let's get a share party going. Let's get to 1,800. I'll be right back. All right, I'm back, ladies and gentlemen. I am back. All right, let's take a look at what we got going on over here. INTS looks like it's trying to curl right now. Looks like it's trying to curl, ladies and gentlemen. There we go. Look at that. Looks like it's trying to curl right now, just off the little pennant right here. Needs to break this high a day, though. So INTS trying to curl off that pennant right now. INTS curling off the pennant. Needs to break through, ladies and gentlemen. Needs to break through. Come on now. Needs to break through. Can it break through that high a day? We'll see what happens, ladies and gentlemen. We shall see what happens. But right now, man, not looking too schmexy. Not looking too schmexy. Let's take a look at LAES. Somebody requested LAES. Let's take a look over here. Ooh, on the downtrend right now, ladies and gentlemen. Not looking too schmexy right here. LAES. Not looking schmexy right. Yeah. So we got that going on right there. LAES needs to break above that downtrend for it to be so much schmexy to meow. All right. LAES needs to break the downtrend and the VWAPA for it to be so much schmexy to meow. But right now, LAES is not looking schmexy. You know what I mean? Let's take a look at INTS. It looks like it's curling right now. INTS trying to curl, currently up 215%. That's what it just hit just now. INTS curling. Come on, baby. Curling. INTS curling on up right now. There we go. Let's take a look here. Let's take a look. All right, so INTS has a bit of a top tail right here. We don't like the top tails. We like the bottom tails, ladies and gentlemen. But it looks like INTS is trying to curl its way on up still. So it's got that going on. We shall see. We shall see. But right now, it did have a nice move up to 215. Has to break through where it broke through at 231%, which would be the 89-cent mark right over here. So that's what we got going on right there. That is what we got going on. INTS currently doing this thing right here. But Yeah, no, that's what we got going on right there. That is what we got going on. Has a bit of a double top forming right over here. Not looking too schmexy, ladies and gentlemen. Not looking too schmexy right now. But let's see. Can it break through that double top for it to be so much schmexy to meow? We'll have to see what goes on. Let's take a look at TECX. TECX. Let's take a look. Let's take a look over here. TECX currently on a very, very choppy uptrend. Not looking schmexy to me. Let's see what goes on here. TECX. TECX on a choppy uptrend needs volume to remain somewhat schmexy to meow. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. All right. So, all right. TECX not looking schmexy. Let's take a look at some other stocks right here. All right. What other stocks were requested or meow? All right. CMBM. Let's take a look at CMBM again. Somebody requested that I look at CMBM again. CMBM we did call earlier this morning. Ran up a nice 152%, but right now not looking schmexy right here. Currently forming another pennant right over. Yeah. So let's see what we got over here. Boom. And boom. All right. Had a nice little curl. Nice little curl over here. And then basically made another descending wedge right over Mya. So CMBM needs to break the descending wedge for it to be so much Mexi to Mya. That's what it needs, ladies and gentlemen. That's what it needs right there. All right, let's take a look at VCIG. Somebody requested VCIG, so let's take a look at VCIG real quick. VCIG, and then we'll take a look at HBIO. All right, so let's take a look right here. VCIG right here. Let's get a share party going on. Let's get to 2100. Come on now. 2100. Yes, sir. All right, so currently VCIG is on a bit of a downtrend right here. Needs to break this downtrend and needs to break the VWAPA for it to be so much Mexi to Mya. So VCIG's currently got that going on right there. VCIG had a nice run earlier, up 195%, but now currently fell below the VWAP. Needs to break that downtrend and the VWAPA for it to be so much Mexi to Mya. All right. What other stonks we got over there? What other stonks we got? Let's see here. Somebody requested INTS again. Let's take a look at INTS real quick. INTS currently trying to curl its way on up a little bit, but still a bit indecisive right now. A little bit indecisive. But again, it's got to break through that double top right there. We don't like the double tops. We like the double bottoms. So INTS needs to break that double top for it to be so much maxi to Mya. All right. All right. All right. So there we go. All right. Let me get this. Let me get some water, ladies and gentlemen. Let me get some water real quick. All right, there we go. Ooh, that's the stuff right there. That's the stuff. All right. Let's take a look at some other stocks right here. Let's take a look at some other stocks right over Mya. All right. Let's see what we got here. All right. All right. All right. Let's see. Somebody requested. Let's take a look at GPRK. I'm curious about GPRK. How's it doing right now? GPRK on. And needs to break this pennant right over here, really, for it to be so much Mexi to Mya. Needs to break that pennant, bop, bop, right there, for it to be so much Mexi to Mya. So, GPRK needs to break the pennant. All right. All right, all right, all right. Let's take a look at BYND. BYND. All right, BYND currently with BYND doing its thing right here. Very, very, very choppy. and on the downtrend right now. So not looking too schmexy to me. Needs to break the downtrend, needs to break the VWAP for it to be so much mexy to me. So we'll get that going on right there. BYND needs to break the downtrend and VWAP with some volume. Needs volume, ladies and gentlemen, for it to be so much mexy to me. All right. Chris Breen asks for Buru. Buru. Let's take a look at BURU right there. All right. BURU. Currently, it had shot up above the VWAP twice and then just basically went back down both times. So that's not very schmexy right here. So I can get rid of this because it's kind of outdated at this point. But let's take a look over here. Currently needs to break the descending wedge over here and break above that VWAP for it to be so much mexy to me. But right now, it's currently not doing that. So BURU needs to break the descending wedge and the VWAP for it to be so much mexy to me. So that's what we got going on there, folks. That's what we got going on. All right. Let's see what else we got. What else we got? Let me at him. All right. Let's take a look at Open. OPEN. Let's see how Open's doing. All right. Open did run a couple weeks back, but it hasn't run for quite a while since then. So right now it had a bit of a double top bot right there. Right, had a bit of consolidation. You know what I mean? A little bit of consolidation. All right. And right now, yeah, that's what we got going on here. All right. Open needs to break that pennant and needs to break that VWAP. All right. Open needs to break the pennant and the VWAP for it to be so much mexy to me. All right. Dudley asks for VRAX, VRAX. Let's take a look at VRAX. All right. Very, very choppy on this one. Very choppy. Had a bit of an uptrend slightly, but again, it was a very choppy uptrend. Needs to break that descending wedge. Very choppy. So needs some volume. Needs to break the VWAP and needs to break that descending wedge right there. All right. So VRAX, VRAX needs volume to break the descending wedge and the VWAP for it to be so much mexy to me because it fell below the VWAP just now. So, not feeling that stock right now. Not feeling it. You know what I mean? Not feeling it. All right, let's take a look at some other stocks right here. All right, let's take a look at ASST. ASST. Let's take a look right here. All right, so ASST currently on a bit. Yes, I am.
What's up?
Yes. So currently ASST is doing its thing right now. It is above the VWAP. Oh, actually, no, it's below the VWAP. Excuse me. It has to break above this channel right here because it had a bit of a channel time. It's channel time right there. So that's what we got going on right there. That is what we got going on right there. So currently ASST trying to do its thing right here, needs to break the channel, needs to break the VWAP for it to be so much mexy to me. Very consolidated as of now. So ASST needs volume. All right. Needs volume to break the channel and the VWAP. Let's get a share party going on. Let's get to 2600. Come on now, 2600. Let's go. 15 minutes out until the bell. It deafens me. You know what I mean? Yes, sir. All right. So that's what we got going on there, folks. That is what we got going on. Let's take a look and see what other stocks are being requested right now. Again, somebody requested LAES. Let's take a look at LAES again. All right, LAES. Curling a bit off that downtrend. Curling a little bit off that downtrend right there. So we got that going on right there. All right. So LAES, LAES, curling off the downtrend right there for it to be so much maxi to mya. All right. So curling off the downtrend needs to break that VWAP for it to be so much maxi, but otherwise it's just meh, you know what I mean? Meh. So let's see what else we got over here. Somebody requested CVU. All right, CVU on a bit of an uptrend over mya. Over mya, you know what I mean? A little bit of that. CVU had 12 million float. Volume is 6 million, so the float is twice as much as the volume. Not a good look right there, but it is moving on low volume right now. So I'll give it credit where credit's due. It is above the VWAP right there. Bop right there. All right. A little bit of an A to B, B to C, C to D. All right. So we got that going on. All right. That's what we got going on. Let me give me 1 second. All right. So, got that water, man. Woo, the water. All right. So, CVU currently on an ABCD pattern, slight ABCD pattern right there. Currently moving its way on up. It's moving up on low volume, so CVU is moving up on low volume. CVU moving up on low volume, but I can't hate on it. Can't hate on it. Moving up on low volume. So that's what we got going on, folks. That is what we got going on right there. All right, moving up on low volume. Still climbing its way on up right here. Up 60% right there. Up 60% CVU. Let me get some support and resistance lines for this stock right here. All right, bop right there and bop right there. So, Yesh currently has to break through 385 for it to be so much maxi to mya, but CVU currently is up 60%. 62%, excuse me. So yeah, testing the high a day right now. CVU. All right. Yeesh. CVU. All right. Broke the high of day. Up 66% right there. 66%. All right. And it looks like the volume is starting to slowly creep up to the float right now, because the float is 12 million, volume is 7 million. So we got that going on right there. That is what we got going on. Let's get a share party going. Let's get to 2,800. Come on now, 2,800. Let's get it. Come on now. Yes, sir. All right. So currently has a new high right over mya of $3.97 right there. That is the new high of day. It needs to break that new high of day for it to be so much maxi to mya. Yes, sir. All right. 1 second. Ooh, get that good stretching. Ooh, ever get that good stretch? Ladies and gentlemen, you guys ever get that good stretch in where it's like you get that crick, like it's like you're shuffling some cars, and then that's basically like the sound your back is making right there, and all of a sudden you're just like, oh, that's the stuff. That's how I just felt just now. Ooh, that was good. Ooh wee. All right. So got that going on right there. All right, let's see about some other stocks. Right here. All right. There is, of course, CMG. That's Chipotle. I love Chipotle, man. CMG. They got Chipotle going on over there. Oh, my. Chipotle Mexican Grill. Can't hate on it. CMG needs to curl its way on up right there. CMG needs to break the downtrend and the VWAPA for it to be so much maxi to mya. Let's get a share party going. Let's get to 3,000 right there, 3,000. I don't know, man. Honestly, you know what, the Chipotle? Ooh, I could go for some Chipotle. I'm not gonna lie. I mean, hey, they bringing it up, man. I mean, Chipotle's got a stock. I didn't even know that yet. But you know what? Apparently, it's got a stock, and you know what? That is some good stuff. Ever have those bowls, the little burrito bowls, man, with the rice, the beans, the little steak. You could get some extra steak sometimes, right? The lettuce, the tomato, the onion, the guacamole. You know what I mean? The corn, right? The salsa verde, the salsa roja. You know what I mean? That stuff was so good, man. Ooh, man, I haven't had that in a hot minute. There's a Chipotle nearby. I might hit that up later for lunch, man. Because that place was amazing. It was good. And sometimes they have the chicken. You could get the chicken and the steak at the same time. I mean, yeah, you know what I mean? They got that good stuff right there. Man, now I'm hungry. Now I'm hungry. Come on now. Now they got me hungry. You know what I mean? Chipotle. Why you gotta do that to me? Why you gotta do me like that? There was another place that we went to. It had like these big old burritos, like filled with rice, beans, and like all sorts of other steaks and stuff like that. And it was so good, so good, man. I tell you what, big old burritos too, like big, massive, like like very big burritos. They're very delicious though. Oh my lord, they had the breakfast stuff too. Ever had a breakfast burrito? Oh my god, those things are amazing. So I'm getting sidetracked, but yeah, no, Chipotle, man. Woo! I could go for some of that. Not gonna lie, I could go for some of that. Man, that's got to be the stuff right there. That's got to be the stuff right there, man. Yeah, I mean, any of you guys like Chipotle? Any of you guys like Chipotle? Put it in the chat. What you like to get at Chipotle, man? I like to get the burrito bowl. The burrito bowl is just so good, especially with the protein, especially after a workout. Ooh! Yeah, because you get to load up on some carbs, you get to load up on some fiber, and you get to load up on some protein. You know what I mean? And then you get the veggies too. You know what I mean? You get to do all that good stuff and get a little spicy with the hot sauce on top. Oh yeah, the spicy hot sauce, the spicy salsa. Oh yeah, the salsa verde as well because it just adds to it, man. It's like, but yeah, that is some good stuff right there. That is some good stuff. JZXN. Let's take a look at JZXN. Oh my. All right, all right. So, JCXN currently curled off the little pennant right over here and kind of just went back down, consolidated a bit, went back up, and started consolidating again. So let's take a look over here. Went back up, bop, right there, consolidating. All right, there we go. All right, so JZXN needs to break that pennant. JZXN needs to break the pennant and the VWAPA for it to be so much messy to mia. All right. Unknown XYZ says, can you give an update on CMBM, please? Certainly. Let's take a look at CMBM, see how CMBM is doing. Again, CMBM had a nice run up 152%, but right now it broke above a resistance point and then fell down below it. It's right there, so we got that going on right there. All right, that is what we got going on. Let's take a look. Boom. All right, bop, right there. Okay, so CMBM looks like it's trying to curl. Tried to curl at least. Tried to curl just a little bit off the descending wedge and then created another little descending wedge right over here. So CMBM created another descending wedge off the descending wedge. CMBM curled, oh, falling down even lower, needs to break the VWAP. Let me change it to needs to break the VWAP because that's what it needs to do. Needs to break that VWAP. Needs to break that VWAP for it to be so much mexy to me. All right. So that's what we got going on there, folks. That is what we got going on. Let's take a look at VIVK. VIVK. Yeah. Let's take a look over here. All right. So VIVK currently on the uptrend slightly. A little bit on the uptrend right now. Little bit. Needs to really stay above that trend line right there. Needs to remain friends with the trend. VIVK went up on the uptrend, but needs to remain friends with the trend. So VIVK needs to remain friends with the uptrend. Because that's what we got going on right there. That is what we got going on. VIVK Needs to remain friends with that uptrend. Needs to remain somewhat schmexy to mya. That's what we got going on, folks. That is what we got going on. All right, all right, all right. Let me get something real quick, ladies and gentlemen. Just get something real quick. I'll be right back. Just gonna get some water. Gotta get some water. All right, ladies and gentlemen, I am back. I'm back right there, ladies and gents. Yes, sir. All right. So let's see what else we got over here. What else we got? Let's see. Somebody requested CMBM again. All right, let's take a look at CMBM. CMBM. So, CMBM currently trying to break that little pennant right there. Needs to break that pennant. Not looking too schmexy right now. Currently needs to break above the VWAP for it to be so much schmexy to me. Right now it's up 95%. 95%. Which is not ideal. Right? So, CMBM needs to break the VWAP for it to be so much schmexy to me. Yeesh. So, that's what it really needs to do. It needs to break that VWAP, needs to break that pennant for it to be so much Mexi to Mya. Otherwise, it's just man, you know what I mean? All right. Let's take a look at some other stonks here real quick. Someone requested IMSR. IMSR. Very, very choppy. IMSR needs volume to break that VWAP. Need some volume. IMSR. Choppy. Needs volume to break the VWAP. And ladies and gentlemen, let's get a share party going. Let's get the 3,500. Actually, wait, no. Let's get the 3,600. 3,600 right now. And remember, ladies and gentlemen, to be sure to check out our 4-day trial for the real-time alerts and scanners for only $9.99. Link to join is in the description down below, as well as the pinned comment section. So be sure to check that out, because we pick a lot of baggers a lot of times. We are just made different, and the early bird gets the cash, the moolah, the loot, the cash, Ola, the big bucks, I tell you. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. All right. QCLS. Oh, yeah, and by the way, ladies and gentlemen, when you join the real-time alerts and scanners, you get access to our beautiful market mover scanner. You get access to our beautiful newsroom, but more than that, you get access to our amazing community of indelibles, all of which are very supportive and very amazing, kind, and good people. So, yeah, be sure to check that out as well. All right.
The bell!
Oh, it's time for the bell! The bell! It deafens me. So let's take a look at QCLS. QCLS, though. QCLS up on a bit of an uptrend right now. Needs to remain friends with the trend, though. Yep, choppy uptrend. But, you know, it's got that going on right there. A little bit overbought in the RSI. So, got that going on right there. QCLS on a choppy uptrend. All right. So, that's what we got going on right there. That is what we got going on. All right. So, that is what's going on right there. What's going on? Yeah, what's going on? I tell you what's going on. Yeesh. So, we got that going on right there. Needs to break that needs to stay above this little trend right here. Needs to remain friends with the trend. Let me get some support resistance lines on this stonk right here. Actually, let me bring this actually a little bit right down here, And then I can give you some little bits of support and resistance right there. Support, resistance, bop and bop right there. So got that going on right there. All right, boom and boom. Okay, so currently QCLS needs to stay above the 499 mark, but it keeps on trying to fall below it. Now it's trying to go above it and go below it again, and it's doing like this whole thing. So not feeling schmexy about that stonk right there. Not feeling schmexy with it right now. Needs to break that. Yep, fell down below. So QCLS brother, you know, it was a bit overbought on the RSI, but brother, meantime, while that's going on right there, let's take a look at ARBB. ARBB, let's take a look at ARBB. All right. So ARBB currently below the VWAPA, right there, below the VWAPA. Yes, sir. All right. So ARBB needs to break that VWAP. Very, very choppy. Needs volume. ARBB choppy. Needs volume to break the VWAP for it to be somewhat schmexy to mya. There we go. That's what we got going on right there. That is what we got going on. All right. Woo! All right. Let's see about another couple of stonks over here. Oh, I got some requests here. All right. So, currently, somebody requested AIIO. Ayo! I like that. Hold on. Before we do, we'll check out CVU real quick. CVU. All right. Look at that. CVU seems to have a bit of an A to B, B to C, C to D forming right here. CVU up 75%. How's that float going? Oh my, the float is 12 million, but the volume has exceeded the float at 22 million. So we got that going on right there. CVU now up 75%, 82%, 82% right there. 82%, 83% right now. Yes, sir. So CVU broke the high of day, ladies and gentlemen, up 83% right there. Yes, sir. 83%. Let's get a share party going. Let's get to 3,900. 3,900, ladies and gentlemen. Yes, sir. Let's get to 3,900 for it to be so much Mexi to me. Let's go. Come on now. Yes, sir. Yes. Let's get a share party going on, ladies and gentlemen. Let's get a share party going on. All right. Yes, sir. All right. Let me get some water in the meantime while you guys are doing that. Hold on. Ooh. All right. There we go. Water. You know what it is? Water. Yes. Currently now, CVU is up 85% right there, testing that resistance right there, that little bit of resistance at the 441 mark. Needs to break above that 441 mark for it to be schmexy to mya. All right. So, currently CVU on a bit of an uptrend right now as, it's basically trying to just stay friends with the trend right there. CVU has an ABCD pattern going on right there. CVU on the ABCD pattern up 85%. CVU on an ABCD pattern up 85% right there. CVU. All right. So, CVU currently doing its thing right there. Currently doing its thing. All right, let's take a look over here. Look over there. All right. Let's see what else we got over here. What else we got? MSAI. Oh my. MSAI seems to be popping up a little bit. Oh my. All right. MSAI moving up on some low volume here. Moving up on some low volume. Look at that. All right. So, MSAI currently on an uptrend on some low volume right here. Let's see if it can hold that uptrend. MSAI on the uptrend on low volume. There we go. So got that going on right there. Needs to hold that uptrend though. Needs to hold that uptrend. Let's get some support and resistance lines right here. Boom and boom right there. So got support at 124, resistance at 129. Yeah. Yep. There we go, ladies and gentlemen. There we go. There we go. All right. Let's take a look over here. MSAI currently on the uptrend. Let's see if it remains friends with the trend right there. Let's see if it remains friends with the trend. So MSAI, can it remain friends with the trend right there? Let's see what happens. MSAI, can it remain friends with the trend? Let's see what happens there, ladies and gentlemen. Let's see what happens. All right. All right, all right, all right. Let's see here. Let's take a look at another stock right there. Someone else said AIIO. Did I check AIIO? I'm going to check it again just to be sure. But AIIO. Hey, yo. All right. Currently below the VWAPA. Below the VWAPA right now. Not looking too schmexy as of this moment in time. Because it's number one choppy, but number two below the VWAPA. So AIIO choppy needs volume to break the VWAPA. Yeesh. So AIIO choppy and needs volume to break that VWAP. It was leaning a bit towards being oversold on the RSI. Now it's kind of just indecisive on the RSI, so we'll see what happens right there. We shall see what happens. But you know what it is. You know what it is. You know what it is, ladies and gentlemen. All right. Let's see what we got going on here. Let me see. Let me see. All right. Let's take a look at LAES. LAES. Let's see how LAES is doing again. LAES, because somebody requested it once again. All right. LAES formed a bit of a double bottom over here. A little bit of a double bottom. All right. Which is good. It means that it could potentially bounce up, but it doesn't look like it has much in terms of the volume department. So LAES currently not looking schmexy right here, but it did curl off that downtrend. Had a big curl off that downtrend right there and then fell down below it. So right now it's currently got to break through that little downtrend right there. Has a bit of a top tail right here. We don't like the top tails. We like the bottom tails, ladies and gentlemen. So we're currently just checking around, making sure that this stock holds its place. And right now, we'll see what happens there. You know, not really feeling it. Not feeling it. Not feeling it. All right, let's see what other stocks we got here. What other stocks do we have? All right, and not Chipotle. Chipotle gonna make me hungry. You know how Chipotle gets me. Chipotle gets everybody hungry. If you don't like Chipotle, man, I don't know what to tell you. I don't know what to tell you. All right, let's take a look over here at CMG once again, because you know why not? Chipotle. I do like Chipotle. CMG. Get that steak burrito bowl later on, man. I'm gonna get that. Woo! I'm gonna get that. All right. CMG curling a little bit. Curling, but still down a little too far. All right. Curling, but still down a little bit too far right now. So, you know what I mean? All right. So, CMG curling its way on upward. All right. There we go. Currently had to get that stretch in right there. Woo! So CMG is curling its way on upward right now, climbing slowly but surely. Still is down overall, but it is climbing. It broke the VWAP, so that is good. That is a good sign right there. CMG broke the VWAP, ladies and gentlemen. That's good right there. CMG broke the VWAP, for it to be so much Mexi to Mya right there. That's what we got going on. All right. So, yeesh. That is what we got going on, folks. That is what we got going on. So, let's get a share party. Let's get to 4,300. Come on now, 4,300. Let's get it. Let's get it. Come on now. All right. All right. All right. All right. Yeesh. Okay. So, let's take a look at another stonk right here. Let's see what else they got over here. Somebody requested UAMY. UAMY. Let's see. All right. Needs to break the downtrend. It is below the VWAP right now, so it needs to break that downtrend right there. So needs to break that downtrend for it to be so much Mexi to Mya. Actually, you know what? It is a bit more of a descending wedge, actually. A little bit of a descending wedge right there. So UAMY needs to break the descending wedge for it to be so much Mexi to Mya right there. So UAMY needs to break the descending wedge and the VWAPA for it to be so much Mexi to Mya. Let's take a look at ASST. ASST. All right. ASST broke above the channel time. Finally broke above the channel time and broke above the VWAP. So just needs to keep curling, ladies and gentlemen. ASST needs to keep curling, man. Just needs to keep curling. Needs to break above there. So ASST needs broke the VWAPA and channel. Needs to remain friends with the trend. All right. All right. All right. All right. All right. So what else we got there? What else we got? BYND. BYND. Let's see about BYND. How's BYND doing right now? Oh my. Yep. Still a little bit not looking too schmexy there. Not looking too schmexy. All right. But currently, it is on a bit of a downtrend there. So there you go. BYND needs to break that downtrend and needs to break that VWAP, ladies and gentlemen. It needs to break both of those things for it to be so much Mexi to Mya. BYND needs to break the downtrend and VWAPA. VWAPA, you know what I mean? Yeesh. All right. Ahmad asks, what about CAN? All right, let's take a look at CAN again. I'm pretty sure we checked this one, but it was very, very choppy last we checked. Still is very, very choppy, but above the VWAP. I will give it credit there. Give it credit where credit's due. However, it has this very, very weird looking cup and handle right there as well. But I don't know whether the stonk will be moving up or down because it's been very, very choppy, very, very sporadic as of late. So CAN, very, very choppy, sporadic stock. CAN needs volume to curl off potential cup and handle pattern. So we'll see what goes on there, ladies and gentlemen. We shall see what goes on there. All right. Let's see here, ladies and gentlemen. Let's get a share party going on. Let's get the 4,600. 4,600. Let's go, ladies and gentlemen. Let's go. Woo-wee. Come on now. Come on now. Yeah. All right. All right. All right. Let's see here. Okay. Let me get some water in me. Let me get some water. I'm a little thirsty. Give me 1 second. All right. There we go. There we go. There we go again. All right. So, CAN currently curling off that little cup and handle right there. But again, it's so choppy that it's like, it kind of just, you know what I mean? It feels weird. Feels weird. You know what I mean? Feels weird. So we'll see what happens there. INTS. Let's take a look at INTS. INTS. How's INTS doing? Come on now. Show me the INTS. Oh, a little bit of a bull reversal. Potentially. Potentially. Come on now. Descending wedge bull reversal. Let's see it. Let's see it. Let's see it. Come on now. All right. There we go. All right. So let me get that right here. All right. All right. Curling its way on up a little bit, slightly. So got that going on. INTS. INTS curled off the descending wedge just a little bit. We'll see what happens. INTS curled off that descending wedge. Curled off that descending wedge. All right, come on now. Curled off the descending wedge, ladies and gentlemen. All right, all right. Let's see. Monty asked for Buru, Buru, B-U-R-U. All right, let's take a look at B-U-R-U. Ladies and gentlemen, let's take a look at B-U-R-U here. B-U-R-U. All right. So, currently, ladies and gentlemen, B-U-R-U is climbing its way on up above the VWAP right now. So, we got that going on for B-U-R-U. Looks like it's trying to finally break that VWAP. So, B-U-R-U is breaking the VWAP right there. So, yes, B-U-R-U breaking the VWAP. Yes. All right. Yes, right there. So that's what Boru's got going on. Let's take a look at BQ. 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 All right. So BQ doesn't have much in terms of volume either. Just trying to move its way up right there. So BQ on a low uptrend right there. Can't even tell what the float is for this stock right here. Oops, excuse me. BQ needs to break, needs to remain friends with the trend, really. BQ needs to remain friends with the trend. It's up on low volume. So BQ up on low volume needs to remain friends with the trend. All right. So that's what we got going on there, ladies and gentlemen. That is what we got going on. All right. Now, ladies and gentlemen, that's pretty much it for me. So thank you guys so much for watching. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe, as well as ring that bell icon to stay notified when new videos are uploaded. And remember to share, because sharing is caring, ladies and gentlemen. Sharing is caring. And of course, if you want access to our private Discord, link to join is in the description down below, as well as the pinned comment section. So be sure to check that out. We pick a lot of baggers a lot of times. We are just made different, and the early bird gets the cash. The moolah, the loot, the cashola, the big bucks, I tell you. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. All right. Well, I mean, yeah. So be sure, ladies and gentlemen, to check us out on our YouTube channel at Coaching Money, at Coaching Money, at Coach Nick Money. Yes, sir. And be sure to check us out on our X.com, aka Twitter, at Coaching Money. At Coaching Money. You could check us out there. You could check us out on our Facebook, Instagram, and Threads at Coaching Money. At Coaching Money. And of course, you could check us out on Instagram at Coaching Money. At Coaching Money. And then to top it off, you could find us on our TikTok, Tiki-Taki, aka the Tac Tac. The Tac Tac, yes, the Tac Tac. At DBL Nicks. At DBL NICKS, and the screen name is Coach Nick Money. Yes, sir. All right, all right. So, yeah. Also, ladies and gentlemen, be sure to check out our 4-day trial for the real-time alerts and scanners for only $9.99. Link to join us in the description down below, as well as the pinned comment section. So be sure to check that out, because we pick a lot of baggers a lot of times. We are just made different, and the early bird gets the cash, the moolah, the loot, the cashola, the big bucks, I tell you. Yeah. So, that is what we got going on right there. All right. And of course, ladies and gentlemen, you get access to our amazing community of supportable indelibles. They're supportive, they're amazing, they're fun, they want to improve themselves and improve others. and they are just an all around a treat to be around. So be sure to check them out. Be sure to check us out. Be sure to click that link in the description down below, as well as the pinned comment section to basically, yeah, check us out right there. And if you want access to the Wealth Builders chat, which is basically the real-time alert scanners, plus, of course, some exclusive content, a lot of exclusive content, as a matter of fact, educational exclusive content, just regular exclusive content, and to top it off, ladies and gentlemen, you get access to the, well, myself and Coach. So, yeah, that's pretty much it for me, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you guys so much for watching. Much love. Take care of yourselves. Remember, ladies and gentlemen, you are indelibles. You are irreplaceable. You are one of a kind. Leave your mark, ladies and gentlemen. Leave your mark. And that's pretty much it.